into these in the backstage passes, the more you enter in what we call the virtual insane asylum. And so it's where we get more personal, deeper, more transparent, all that kind of stuff. Some people get a little freaked out, so you've had your warning. So probably about, well, it was right before Tom came into my life, actually. And so my wife and I were going through the hardest time we've ever been through in our marriage. I mean, it was just brutal. So I was talking to my uncle, who's a pastor and had a lot of marriage counseling, a lot of stuff. I mean, it was not looking good. And so it was my uncle, my aunt, my wife, and I, and my uncle went ahead and was pounding at me for an hour. Like, big time. Not bad, but trying to help me see stuff, and he couldn't get through. He could not get through to me. My aunt Carrie, she said to my uncle, she said, "Hey, Gary, I don't think you're getting through to Mark." And he's like, "Yeah, I agree." She's like, "Let me give it a crack." He's like, "Yep, go for it." And she looked into my eyes, and she went ahead and said, "Mark, I think you've been hurt at a heart level." And immediately I started crying. I just broke down. Like, I just broke down. And so that would have been, I don't know, 13 years ago, 14 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. And immediately I started crying. I just started weeping. It was like, finally, somebody, understands me. Like, somebody, like, wow, that's the answer. And that's how Tom is, too. Like, he somehow can feel at a heart level. And so I said, Annie Care, that's exactly right. Like, I have been hurt at a heart level. And I'm like, how do I fix it? And she's like, I don't know. like, what? Like, what? And so for the last 14 years, I've been pursuing the internalization model. Came a lot faster. Like, it came in a day. The heart, healing people at a heart level, is that hard? But maybe in this course, I can show you guys all the work that I've done, the journal entries. I've got a heart mapped out, sketched out. I've got different things, each of the 4 personalities. I've said, okay, each of the 4 personalities, they get hurt at a heart level. How do you heal from that? I mean, I've got so much work I've done, which has enabled me to quickly, I think, put together the internalization model. So when you have a question that's an awakening question, it transforms something. It's like an epiphany. And then you listen at a deep, deep level. And this is where my aunt, she was listening at a deep level. She could feel. She's like, we're not going to break through to Mark. He's been hurt at a heart level. Like, I have to hear him at a heart level. And this is what Tom does really well. It's what Nicole does really well. I think it's what Bev does really well. Like, Bev, it's unbelievable. I've never met anybody. Like, normally when I talk to somebody new, I'm asking them questions for quite a while. She asked me question after question. She peeled me back like an onion, one layer after another layer after another layer. I told her stuff that I don't tell, my own brothers don't know. My own 3 brothers, 2 sisters, they don't know it. My dad and mom didn't know it. She is a phenomenal listener. Paul is a phenomenal listener. Like, they listen at a quantum level. Peter Miles is a phenomenal listener. And it's listening and it's connecting back into your why, your life vision, like what you're put on this planet to do. It's unbelievable. And then you go ahead and move into the next. So the analytic kind of has some of these skills if they don't let the details get in the way. And that reveals you see new things, you have new insights. You have new insights, and then that leads to intention, and it's a purification. I was hurt at a heart level. I've been hurt probably 5-6 times in my life at a heart level. I mean, it is painful. Oh my gracious. I'm surprised that I lived through it. And because I don't, I never have drank, I don't drink, and I don't really do any medication, like this stuff could have killed me, like literally. So because I don't, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with any of that, I'm just saying I don't do it, so I can't go ahead, and so I have to allow my brain to somehow heal, and it's got this healing capability that I can not only heal myself, but I know how I healed, so I can bring healing to other people. I don't want to help people, I want to heal people. And so it's a purification of one's heart. When you get hurt at a heart level, it purifies your heart, especially if it's really close to you. And it reveals intention, and it reveals a whole bunch of things. Then you move, so that's the amiable personality, and then you move to thinking differently. And that's radical. It's not like, like Tom, like he understands, how to feed the monster in me. And my wife and kids love Tom like crazy because he brings a healing to me, like all the time. And so it's radical. It's like, if it's not radical, like, holy smoke, like, wow, my life just changed. And you can do that at will. Well, you can learn how to do it. So my wife and I are in a new season. All 7 of our kids have moved out of our home, and so we're going to go ahead and be selling our home, and we're going to be, because we don't know where we want to live, so we're going to be getting a really nice, RV and traveling around the country for at least a year, and it's going to be so fun. So we're both 55, so we're young. It's going to be so cool. But it's really emotional because we've been in the home that we raised 7 kids in, and she homeschooled the kids, and so she is, getting rid of all the homeschooling stuff. And she showed me a piece of paper, and she said, "Do you remember this?" And I'm like, kind of. And it was a multiplication. It's a system I built to teach our kids how to do multiplication, and so I built so many systems for our kids. Unbelievable. In the homeschooling world. I had an entire curriculum management system. And so she said it's multiplication. And remember when we did the time trials? And that, I'll never forget that. That was just in passing. I was in the kitchen having lunch, and she showed it to me before she threw it away. So we're throwing everything away. So emotional for her, very emotional for me, very traumatic, but in a good emotional, good traumatic way. It's like, wow, it's a new season. And so I realized how fast, how it's important to teach kids math fast, and how often when we get older, we get lazy. Ralph Miller, another mentor of mine, he was in his 70s, and his mom was in, her 90s, and she said, "Ralph," so she's 99 years old when she passed away, and she was 97, 98. She's traveling all around the world on all these boards when she's 97, 98 years old. She's like, "Ralph, you know what the problem with old people is?" He's like, "No, like he's 70. She's 90. She's in her late 90s. She's like, "They're lazy, Ralph." He's like, "Okay, Mom." And so radical thinking is why we love being around, young kids, is because everything's so new. Like, you got to watch the videos of my granddaughter. She's 2.5 years old, and it's so precious. Like Tom, when Ginger Ann, our oldest, now he's 7. Our oldest grandson is 7, and so, he went ahead and said to me when I was out in Annapolis, he said, "Grandpa, what's your biggest challenge?" And it just touched me like, wow. And I said, "Buddy, it's helping people to learn to be good students." And Tom and Nicole, you can go ahead and chime in. Peter, Rosanna, Jill, and Elise. You can all chime in if you want anytime. Just just interrupt. It's fine. And so it meant so much coming from my 7-year-old son. He was talking to Jorge, who's a CPA from Mexico, originally from Mexico, CPA in the U.S., now has a practice in San Antonio, doing an event in San Antonio in January. Hope you all are able to attend. But Danny at 7, with no prompting from his grandfather, no prompting from his mom, he just took ownership, and he just went around the whole event asking everybody what their biggest challenge was and writing it down in his little journal. And Jorge said, "That's a really good question, Daniel. Why are you asking that question?" And Daniel said, "Because my grandpa says it's a very important question to ask people." And so it's radical thinking. And as we get older, it seems like we become cynical, not radical. And then that leads to capabilities, which leads to leverage. That's why the leverage course is so important, because it gives us new capabilities to think and do, new synapses in our brains that we connect all these different things together. And so the expressive has these kind of, like Tom is radical. And Tom knows how to leverage to gain, and he knows how to think in different, I'll never forget, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years into our friendship or relationship. He's like, "Mark, I just love flowers." I'm thinking, what a strange thing for a grown man to say. "Tom, why do you love flowers?" And he went into the details, and he was like a little boy, like my grandkids. Like he's so young at heart. It's insane. My good friend Dwight from China, same way, hangs around a bunch of 20-year-old people in China, and he says, "I'm younger than you are." Tom's younger probably than all of us. I'm trying to be that. I'm studying to be that. And then it moves from leverage into internalization, into change. So that's what Tom was communicating to Peter or to Randy, is I don't know that it takes 3 times. It doesn't with little kids. Like, you got to watch this video with my granddaughter. Like, she's fussing, and she's not a happy camper, and she's on Grandpa's lap. I mean, this is the coolest story in the planet. Like, it's unbelievable. And she's fussy, and she's not happy, and she's squirmy, and I'm doing this video. And I said, "Oh, don't worry about Lily. She's fake crying." And by the end of the video, she's fine. And then on the way home with Rosanna, this is the backstory. On the way home with Rosanna, so Katrina is our middle child, and she's a single mom doing a great job, really trying. Wow, I just have a heart for single moms like crazy. But we took her home because she was called in to work, and so she says, "Hey, can you guys take her?" So we did, and we took her home. And she interrupted Rosanna and I when I was talking. I said, "Hey, honey, Grandpa and Grandma are talking." And she immediately, as a 2.5-year-old, she stopped talking, and she listened to us. It was insane, just like insane. And I said, "Honey, what did you want to say?" And she says, "Grandpa, Grandma talking. Important." It's like, what? You're 2.5 years old. And then out of nowhere, she says, "Grandpa, I'm not fake crying anymore." Like, in today's video that we shot, day 2 of day 2, and this is business sense from everyday moms. This is the in Engineered Clarity EC2. And so today on video 2, which we talked about quantum thinking, I said, "Do you want to do fake crying today?" And she did. It was the cutest thing. It's like, it's insane. It's like, kids are amazing. It's like change. It's like, and you don't have to be told. Like, you don't have to go through, like in the tipping point, it says 10,000 times, except kids don't have to do it 10,000 times. Like, kids hear it once and they get it. Well, what if that was possible with us? And then Peter Miles, like, he went ahead, and I said, okay, so you go through all of this, and what happens next? And Peter Miles said, you fail. I'm like, oh my gracious. Oh, he's so right. And so then you do something, you internalize it, you do it, and then you fail. And you say, I got it. And then you start the whole process all over again. And so with little kids, when they trip up and they fall the first time, nobody says, you know, you'll never walk again in your life. Nobody ever says that. But for adults, that's what we say. When the analytic personality and the psychology of people, when the analytic makes a mistake, nobody roots that person on and says, oh my gracious, you made a mistake. That's awesome. High five. Nobody does it. When the amiable goes ahead and is a little harsh on people and says, you know what, I'm not sure that you're being truthful, or I'm not sure. Like, nobody roots them on and says, wow, you confronted somebody? Way to go. Or when the expressive gets serious and says, hey, let's slow down a little bit. Let's look at the details. Nobody says to the expressive, oh, my gracious, that's amazing. And nobody says for the, you know, driver personality, not even his own wife, not even his own 7 kids, when he changes to an amiable personality and becomes the nicest person on the planet. When the driver tries to be nice to people and not push them, nobody says, wow. Like, nobody encourages adults to go ahead and change. And so let's rip through this really fast here. And so when we look at the psychology of people, the business, and life, it's recruiting. We draw people to us by understanding their personality. Onboarding, we help people become productive and profitable based on their personality. We develop people based on their personality. Systems through the 530 grid to attract the best people to us. The 530 grid plus 2 other DNAs will connect people in the best fashion. Systems to assist people to grow to achieve their dreams and goals. We use natural laws to awaken people to the possibilities. We use natural laws to help people take personal ownership. We use natural laws to help people work hard and smart and care about other people. That's what this course is going to be all about. But not just this course, the course that you're going to put together. Like, this isn't, when you're going through the course, you're going to learn stuff you've never even dreamed. Like Nicole said at the beginning, it's going to blow your mind like you've never even conceived. You're going to hear things you've never heard before. It will be life-changing. But it's not about that. It's about you, like Stephen Covey says in The 8th Habit. It's finding your story and then helping other people find and tell their story. See, each of you have the ability to raise $6.5 million for a bunch of great causes. Each of you have the ability inside of you to invest 7 hours and make $1 million. You do. You do. You just do. So the 7 life-changing lessons is the power of boss, the science of psychology of people for people in every area of one's life. Lesson 2 is the 17 seconds to quantum thinking, DNA for people, learning to identify somebody's personality in 17 seconds. A system for everything, the 530 grid, DNA for business, the 5 areas which attract the right people and build lifelong relationships. Natural laws, leveraging everything, DNA for life, integrating 500 plus natural laws throughout the entire DNA for the 530 grid. Lesson number 5 is dimensional thinking, helping people to think differently. Number 6 is building quantum systems, systems which make you very different. And the next step, learning, turning learning into earning. These are the 7 lessons that we're going to teach. And Tom and I are so anxious about this stuff. It's so hard for both Tom and I. Like, just get into it, Mark. Like, but the backstage passes. It's the discipline. It's the discipline of developing a core group of people, because it's not about Tom and I learning things, or Peter Miles or Nicole, or it's about helping us all to come together in community and learn so much more together than we ever could on our own. The course format is going to be a rough guideline, blended time. It's very much like a delicious food where everything is blended together, and taking the topic and bringing everything together to deliver a quantum thinking experience. So 10 minutes of DNA for people, 10 minutes for DNA for business, 10 minutes for DNA for life, all blended together in this unbelievable experience. And then 30 minutes of Q&A. Live participants will be active in applying what is being taught, and will have questions, experiences, and thoughts, which will bring value to those who are going through the future online lessons. This brings the reality to teaching the good, the bad, and the ugly, to ensure that theory isn't being taught, just only theory, but real-life practical business and life-changing things are being learned. And so a system to follow through. What's the biggest challenge in going through any amazing course, seminar, workshop, or event? Well, it's follow-through. On average, less than 3% of people have strong follow-through. And so turning learning into earning, this is what Bev is so excited about, is how do you take and turn learning into earning? Corporate America doesn't know how to do that. Entrepreneurs do. They know how to turn learning into earning. It's the only way the 3% survive. As an entrepreneur, if you don't learn how to turn learning into earning, you're going to die. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to go through and do everything. It's all done for you. And so hopefully, let's go into the structure. So here's real quick. So here's the structure of each lesson. This is awesome. Like, this is crazy. Like, Area 1 marketing, more and better leads. Leverage personality masteries to generate more and better leads based on personalities. Take the top 3 natural laws, which will help to generate more and better leads. Area 2, pre-sales. Leverage personality masteries to convert more leads to yes based on personalities. The top 3 natural laws, which will help to convert more leads to more individuals to yes. The sales, leverage personality masteries to reduce sales cycle based on personalities. And again, this isn't just business. It's not just turning learning into earning. It'll help you in every area of your life. It's quantum thinking. I have 3 bachelor's degrees in business, 1 in finance, 1 in management, 1 in marketing. None of them taught me anything like my 7 kids did in business. I learned so much from my 7 kids in business, it's insane. And then Area 4, servicing. Raving fans equal referrals, and so leverage personality masteries to build a referral machine from prospects, clients, to everyone. Take the top 3 natural laws, which will help to build a massive referral machine. Nicole's going to have some amazing stories to share on that, because she's working on that right now. And then client relationships for life, lifelong referral machines. Leverage personality masteries to build machine to tap into the spheres of influence of everyone. And then the natural laws to gain deep access into the spheres of influence. So as you can see, it's like distilling all of this. And if you want a really pretty class and you really want to have it easy, well, then you don't have to go through the backstage passes. But the backstage passes is where the real stuff happens. It's where we're going together through in the discovery, of this. So it's taking all of these things. One properly designed, engineered boss system has the ability to cover every area, any group you desire to impact. I mean, just really? Yep. So if you haven't registered for, this course, do so. I've been doing this for a long time, taught a lot of courses. And I've never experienced anything like this. And we're not even started. We're just getting started here. Tom, any closing thoughts that you have?
Can't wait. This is going to be great.
Excellent. Nicole, any thoughts you have?
I'm excited.
Cool. Peter, Paban, any questions, thoughts you have?
No, it's very interesting. It's a lot, but definitely interesting.
And that's where the backstage passes help to sort it all out. It helps to condense it. It's like a distilling 99, like white lightning, 99.9 proof. Like it'll just blow your mind because there's so much that's being distilled into it. But once we have the 7 lessons, it'll go flawlessly. People will be like, "That's amazing. How'd you do it?" And if you're part of the backstage pass, you just smile and say, "You have to go through backstage pass." Elise, anything you got?
No, I'm good.
All right, if you're listening to the rebroadcast, you have any questions on this, connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session, or you can call toll-free 888-230-2300. That's 888-230-2300. Or if you're calling in outside the U.S., you can call the U.S.-based number at 630-393-9909. That's 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. God bless. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.